I know. I don't know why Vegas thinks they're fucking, at the top of the league all of a sudden. You had 1 year, the luckiest year you could have possibly had. And now all of a sudden you think that you should trade your prospects and your picks. They're you could say, "Oh, you're just fucking jealous because they're so good." This is a team who every single player, except for maybe James Neal, had a career year. I remember the Oilers when they made the playoffs 2 years ago. The reason they didn't make the playoffs next year, I remember they're like, well, when all those guys have career years like that, some of them are gonna regress, and you're not gonna have as good a year. And now, granted, I think that the Oilers will be way better next year, but if you're Vegas, you are an old team. If you're Vegas, all you want is a shit ton of prospects. That's all you want. So that you can get so many prospects that you're going to be so good in a few years. But for some fucking reason, they're like, oh, yeah, we'll just fucking take Max Pacioretty. He's older and expensive. Fuck Nick Suzuki. We don't want a young stud at center. We don't want Tom Tatar, even though we just traded a first, a second, and a fourth for him. And we didn't even play him. We just fucking did it because we wanted to be part of the trade deadline. Like, what are you doing, man? If they traded for Carlson, I can't even imagine how much they would have gave up. They probably would have gave up. Like, Glass, Suzuki, Neil, Howla, Shea Theodore, the fucking coach. Like, they would have traded everyone, man. And if you're Montreal, you're like, finally, we win a trade. Because even if Suzuki doesn't end up being that great, you still don't have to pay this fucking man who his time is done. Like, it's just, there's some guys that are just, their time is done with a team. Like, it happens all the time. It's just like, you know what? It's time for a fucking fresh start. I need to go somewhere else. And, he's only 29. I looked this up. I thought it was at least fucking 72, but he's only 29. But he's clearly on the decline. And if you're in Montreal, you can really build around what you got now. The only thing this offseason that I don't like that they did was the fucking draft. I thought that was the dumbest pick ever. If you're going to take a flyer on a center like that, take Joe Veleno. Why would you not take Joe Veleno? Makes no fucking sense to me at all. You've been looking for a big two-way center forever. He's the big two-way center of the draft. He was given exceptional status. Yeah, he didn't have a good year in St. John, but he fucking killed it in Drummondville. You look at those stats, light and day, and he had a horrible start in Drummondville. He had no points in his first 9 games, I think, and then he just lit it up after that. But if you're the Canadians, you went from that draft. Now you got tougher with Domi, which I love. I want my team to not take any bullshit. I want my team to be tough out there. I don't want, Have you guys seen that video of Gordon Hayward when the guy puts his finger in his ear and he doesn't do shit? If Max Domi did that, I'm pretty sure Ty Domi would beat him. And he's like 22. You'd still beat him. Because he'd be like, what the fuck, man? Defend yourself, man. Don't take that shit. But I didn't like Galchenyuk anyways. I don't know. I just don't like the way he plays. He's not really a two-way guy. Domi will try his hardest everywhere. I think Drouin's going to have a breakout year, man. I think Drouin's got really, really good potential next season. And you got the potential to have some really nice forwards. And you might suck next year because Weber's hurt. But I could definitely see them being a playoff team next year. Definitely. If Weber comes back full strength and Carey Price is the Carey Price we usually see. But overall, I think the Canadians completely, literally robbed Vegas. And if you're Vegas, you started with. Okay, well, let's put it this way. You ended up with Max Pacioretty, but you ended up giving up a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a fourth-round pick, Nick Suzuki, and I think cash considerations also? Or is that a different trade I'm thinking of? Fuck, man. You definitely... Yeah, you gave up a fuck ton. And now all you have is Pacioretty to say. This is all you ended up with. And... Man, Montreal, Shea Weber, and Carey Price, those are the X factors. That's a playoff team if they can both be their best. And this is nice all of a sudden for Montreal because you got a young team now at forward. And if you suck next year, hey, you might get Dylan Cousins. That's your big two-way center you've been looking for. I'm not so high on Jack Hughes, but if you're Montreal, Dylan Cousins is perfect. You get the big two-way center. I still would have fucking taken Boleno, but whatever. Can't change that. I'm not even a Habs fan. Why am I mad?